Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our webinar, Rwanda, Africa's most digital nation. Thank you for dialing in. Thank you for your patience. My name is Andreas Pfleger. I'm the commercial counselor here in Nairobi. Together with my team, we support Austrian companies not only in Kenya, but 10 other countries in Eastern Africa as well. And I would like to welcome all of you warmly to our webinar today. First, let me begin with a little bit of webinar housekeeping. This webinar is being recorded, as you've all been made aware when you dialed into the call. The recording will be shared with you after a little bit of editing after our webinar. Also, the presentation slides you're about to see, our guest speakers have graciously agreed to share them with you, so those will also be made available to you once our webinar concludes. And finally, and most importantly, please feel free to ask any questions you might have via the chat function at any point during this webinar. We will have time at the end of the webinar to address those questions, and if we run out of time, we will make sure to address all of your questions in writing and get back to all of you individually. Now, without much further ado, let me give you a little bit of an overview of what's going to be happening today. First, I'm giving you a little bit of an introduction and a welcome and a little bit of general information about Rwanda and Austria and the trade relationship between our two nations. Next, we'll hear from Ms. Alice Higoro, who's the head of, who's the project director for smart cities at the Ministry of ICT and Innovation in Kigali in Rwanda. Very excited to hear what Ms. Higoro has to share with us. Next, Mr. Godwin Akankunda, who's a senior manager at KPMG East Africa, will give us an update from the innovation perspective. After that, we'll hear from Peace Ndoli, who is a wonderful success story from Rwanda. Peace is actually the co-founder and COO of Lifestein Health, and she will speak to us about innovative healthcare solutions made in and for Rwanda. And finally, we will hear from some Austrians and their path to success in Rwanda. Ms. Anja Schlösser, who's the Managing Director of Code of Africa Limited in Kigali, and Mr. Wolfgang Mraz, who's the CEO of DCCS in Austria, will share their story and how they ended up acquiring a subsidiary in Kigali recently. Then let's begin, ladies and gentlemen. Again, at any point in time, any questions you might have, please type them into the chat window and send them through. We will make sure to address them at the end. To give you a little bit of an overview, let me begin with this slide, Rwanda at a glance. Rwanda's population is about 14 million people. Now, a significant fact about this population number is that 60% of Rwanda's population are under the age of 25. They're a young, motivated, and tech-savvy workforce that will only, grow older and play a bigger role in the workplace in Rwanda and consequently for Rwanda in the global landscape. Rwanda is also known for its strong and continued GDP growth, which has been between 7 and 8% in most of the last 15 years, and identifies Rwanda also as one of Africa's most resilient economies that continues to develop, continues to mature and grow. Kigali, the capital of Rwanda, is ranked as one of Africa's cleanest and safest cities, is well connected not only on the continent but also internationally, and offers everything you might be looking for in a modern, dynamic business environment that's tech-driven. Tourism is still a major factor in Rwanda's GDP. The latest numbers I've seen predict for 2025 a 10% GDP contribution by tourism. The focus on sustainability and ecology and preservation, which the Rwandan tourism sector has developed very strongly in the last few decades, is of course also a promising sign that this tourism sector will continue to be an important factor. Governance is of course also an important factor in the Rwandan success story in GDP growth, business-friendly environment. All the right policies are in place to attract business from all over the world, and I'm really looking forward to finding out a little bit more about this also during our webinar today. If we take a moment to look at the trade between Austria and Rwanda, this slide will be handy. Austrian exports to Rwanda in 2024 total 2.2 million euros, which is a decline of 40% compared to the previous year. If we look at the top categories, typical for Austria, mechanical and aeronautical equipment is very strong. Soft drinks and juices are also very, very strong categories in Austria's exports to Rwanda. Now, looking at the 40% decline, of course, this is not what we're hoping for. Sometimes it's connected to projects, though. A big big project ends, which means deliveries go down in a certain category. Overall, trade between Austria and Rwanda has been developing positively. If we look at the Austrian imports of Rwanda, those are considerably higher than Austria's exports to Rwanda, 17.6 million in 2023 and 14.3 million, minus 20% in 2024, with mainly minerals, ores and ashes, as well as coffee being the leading categories here. So why is Rwanda considered Africa's most digital nations? There's many reasons for it. Most of these reasons we'll explore also in person in Kigali during a trade mission that my team and I are organizing in October this year. You'll hear a little bit more about this later on. Number one on why Rwanda is Africa's most digital nation is government. There's a national strategy for transformation. There's a Smart Rwanda master plan and a joint effort of driving the nation forward that is aligned across all government departments when it comes to digitalization particularly. E-government and digital ID are two sectors where Rwanda is a leader on the African continent, making public services easily accessible wherever you're located on the vast continent within the vast nation, and driving transformation that is truly important for the continent. Innovation hubs, Kigali Innovation City, the Norsken House Kigali, and many other local accelerators make for a vibrant community in Kigali that creates an atmosphere of collaboration that just leads to many innovative solutions to be produced. Rwanda also offers ideal conditions for cutting-edge pilots. We're not talking about the person riding the plane is driving itself at this point, flying itself at this point. We're talking about drones that are used, autonomous drones that are used for medical deliveries into remote regions. We're talking about cashless transport solutions. We're talking about digital healthcare, telemedicine, teleconsultation, all these things that the African continent and its vastness make a challenge. Rwanda is leading innovation in these sectors. Also, Rwanda and Kigali have a lot of regional influence. Kigali and Rwanda serve as a gateway to both Eastern Africa as well as the Francophone African countries in the West. My team and I, again, we see many opportunities. Health tech, which is, of course, an Austrian discipline of strength, again, including digital and remote health, telemedicine, biotech solutions, as well as climate tech and green energy. These are all areas that Austria has a lot of expertise in. Rwanda is also working on solving challenges around energy access in remote regions, about grid reliability. We're talking about remote grids. We're talking about mobile solutions, and we're talking about photovoltaic and solar. Fintech and agri-tech are also big sectors. As we heard also from Austria's imports, agricultural exports are still a big part of Rwanda's economy. So there are many solutions and challenges around that, whether it comes to payments or whether it comes to quality assurance across the supply chain. Government and smart cities, we've also mentioned, we'll hear a lot more about in a little bit. Digital infrastructure, access to services, this requires a lot of modern technology and a lot of international cooperation. So this is where we also see opportunities. Now, some of the challenges that Rwanda offers as a target market are, of course, that it's a rather small domestic market. Regional expansion is the solution to that challenge. We talked already about Rwanda being a gateway into Eastern Africa as well as into the Francophone African countries. Regular processes in Rwanda are still developing, which is a good thing, I think, because it means you can be part of that process. You can engage with stakeholders, you can engage with regulators, and you can, be on the bleeding edge of regulation being developed. Government in Rwanda, as far as I know, is also very interested in having very close dialogue with entrepreneurs and with business to understand how the environment can be ideal. Rwanda itself is also an early stage ecosystem still in the tech dimension, at least when we're looking at it. Partnerships are crucial. Now, this applies for every single country in Africa. If you don't have the right kind of partnership, if you don't build the right kind of partnership, you will not be successful. That's it for the introduction and overview. I would now like to invite our first guest speaker to activate her microphone and her camera, Miss Alice Higiru, who's the Project Director for Smart Cities at the Ministry of ICT and Innovation in Kigali. Thank you so much for joining our webinar today to share some remarks with our audience. Alice, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much for having me, everyone, and thank you for the background presentation. Yes, just wanted to give you a clearer picture into our ecosystem. Maybe I won't take too much time on on this is our background, basically how we've evolved to where we are today. From the 2000s, which is the post-genocide period. So from 2001 to 2005 was the first leg of ICT development, where the telecom market was liberalized and the certain policies and frameworks for ICT were established. And then until the year of 2010, this is when the national backbone, data center, and so many other infrastructures were being put in place. And then until the year 2015 is where we focused heavily on digitalization, which included going from analog to migration of government services, the famous Irembo or e-government portal for some of you that might know it. And then also after that, then until the year 2020, we focused on really strengthening the key government portals and platforms that, for example, e-procurement, which looks at all the government tenders and procurement processes. And then also establishing the Government Command Center, which is a consolidation of all the MIS systems for the government and different platforms that really look at service delivery. And then since then, we are now in the phase of the digital economy. So we've established all these foundational infrastructures, policy frameworks, and the different efforts that I'm going to show you here. So the phase we're in is to now create value on top of all the assets and infrastructure and systems that have been put in place. Maybe to shed some more light around the policy environment, we have a bunch of policies, but I'll highlight these 5. We recently revised our broadband policy to liberalize the market, where before we had one monopoly company in charge of 4G LTE, for example. So in 2023, I believe, or 22, we opened up the market, and now more players on the market for 4G and above. And we have seen this increase the uptake in 4G services and technologies. We also have the National Cybersecurity Policy. We'll see in the coming slides what that entails, but it's really to create a robust cybersecurity ecosystem, looking at the skills needed in the country, the different safeguarding processes and policies, and so on. We also have the Data Revolution Policy, which came in to establish data standards and formats and so on, to make sure, one, there is a interoperability with data exchanges, but also having harmonized formats. And then we also have the National Digital Talent Policy, which also created space for creating, for example, software programmers from a young age and really embedding it within the national curriculum. And then lastly, the National AI Policy, which is among our latest policies, also came in to look at, to set the standards for ethical use of AI, and also really leveraging that different AI capabilities for the different development programs that the country has. A snapshot of ecosystem, again, infrastructure mostly. We have 97% 4G LTE coverage across the country. So that's almost 100% of the country has 4G LTE, 15,000 kilometers of fiber. Although we have a high mobile penetration rate, our internet usage is still very low, which is due to many factors, including the cost of internet within Rwanda, which is also being studied to look at how can we lower that, and other factors that include digital skills, people not having skills to use that, access to devices, and different things. And then, yeah, so this is one of our goals, that by the year 2030, we have 2.8 million households in Rwanda. The goal is that we will have at least one smartphone per family by the year 2030, and we have a number of programs that are in place to ensure we achieve that. One is to attract an assembly and manufacturing plant to come in Rwanda. It could be one, could be more, to serve not just Rwanda, but as Andreas was saying, to also serve the regional market. We also have a program with MTN that's called Make for affordable phones that is aiming to put 100,000 smartphones on the market. We also had another campaign that some of you may be familiar with called Connect Rwanda, which has distributed so far 150,000 phones, and these are basically like donations to the public, especially more vulnerable communities. We have a program under our World Bank and AIIB funding that looks at subsidizing and creating financing schemes for smartphone access, which include, I think you know that in the West you have like installment plans, which most of our markets in Africa don't really have installment plans for phones or other devices. So the first leg is to look at how do we do that payments, flexible payment schemes for smartphones. The second pillar looks at also credit financing for accessing other devices, which include laptops and tablets, and then also digitization of MSMEs. KIC, which is Kigali Innovation City, is our Pan-African ICT hub that really houses different things. One is to look at creating a pool of talents, which is housing, it's a real estate space that houses some of our top universities, for example, Carnegie Mellon University, ALU, University of Rwanda, AIMS, which I'll look at in a few. So we've attracted so far over 40 countries or students from over 40 countries, and this is really impacting our economy, addressing our digital skills gap, and so on. We also are housing there. Rwanda has positioned itself as a proof of concept hub, and so one of the successes we've had is attracting, for example, biotech and other tech-focused companies, a number of incubators and other smart city technologies. We are also creating this the KIC as really reliable infrastructure that includes co-locating different services, service providers, and tech companies in one place. Historically or over the last years, the kinds of investments we've created to really attract innovators and to come to Rwanda as a launching pad. Like Andreas mentioned, we are a small market. However, we've created different frameworks that can allow Rwanda to be a launch pad into the regional markets and accessing the continent as a whole. Some of the game changers we've hosted is the Volkswagen assembly plant. We have Zipline, which has now identified as a unicorn, has achieved unicorn status, and this the Zipline drones are supplying over 80% of the blood in Rwanda. We have Irembo, our e-government service. We have Catapult, an accelerator. We have Ampersand, which does retrofitting of e-bikes, so turning ICE-based bikes into electric bikes. We have Charis, which also uses drones for agriculture, health, construction. Babylon unfortunately went bankrupt, but until then they had launched in Rwanda for the Africa market. We have BioNTech, which was the first company to achieve approval for COVID-19 vaccine. They've also established in Rwanda. So as a whole, the ecosystem we are building for Rwanda is to, one, accelerate startup competitions, have proactive policy making where we have things like the public-private PPI, public-private, sorry, but the word escapes me, public procurement for innovation, so which eases startups' ability to compete with other corporates and basically remove hurdles that usually choke innovators from competing for tenders, especially government tenders, where usually they're asked for, you have to have a turnover of $10 million, you have to have experience of 10 plus years, you have to have an office location. All those things are removed with the PPI, and rather we ask, give us an MVP. So then that way startups are able to compete equally with other companies, larger companies. Again, these are the 4 universities that I mentioned. They have different master's and bachelor's degree programs in mathematical science, AI, machine learning, electrical and computer engineering, and all of these have attracted different caliber of students from across the continent, and we are continuing to exert efforts into this. And then these are the different centers of excellence that we have. We have one on biomedical engineering, Internet of Things, energy for sustainable development, biodiversity, so on and so forth. So our startup ecosystem, how it looks, in terms of hubs, we have over 1,500 startups housed within 3 of our biggest hubs, which is Noshken, Westavele, and Impact Hub. We have more than 63 companies with a turnover of almost $1 million, and In terms of financing, we have different schemes and instruments that really seek to promote the innovation ecosystem, including the Rwanda Innovation Fund and so on. We have more than 60 entrepreneurship support organizations or accelerators and incubators across the country. And we also have hunger hubs, which hunger in our language means creating. So these are hubs that promote innovations and so on across the country. This is digital literacy. I'll skip this. We have a space sector. I'm not a space expert, so I can't explain much of what's on here, but this is really to give you a snapshot into some of the tech solutions within our space environment, which heavily focus on analytics and intelligent models with platforms like the GIS that Rwanda is using, machine learning and other things. And some of the spaces that the Rwanda Space Agency focuses on is smart agriculture. So using space technology for precision agriculture, for urbanization and urban planning and development, for disaster management, where space technology is used to monitor the different weather parameters that we monitor as Rwanda, including climate change. And some of our use cases, for example, is the volcanic eruptions that happened in 2023, causing a lot of damage. Some of it was predicted and curbed due to our satellite technology. So some of the infrastructure we have is we have a teleport, we have a data center for space, and we all have a 24/7 control room. In terms of cybersecurity, we have the National Cybersecurity Agency that's responsible for coordinating all ICT security policies and strategies, preventing and defending against cyber threats, coordinating both the public and private sector to ensure we have cyber resilience, and implementing the different cyber programs. Some of the things that they do is they've created standards that require for people to register as either data processors or controllers, and also authorize data transfer within and outside of Rwanda, handle complaints and investigations on cybersecurity threats, ensure compliance across the government and private sector, continue to raise awareness, develop skills, and monitor our emerging technologies. So our vision for Rwanda heading into 2050 is to really use tech and innovation as the key drivers of growth. One, to make sure that we're institutionalizing service innovation all across government, and now we are actually at a stage where we're moving into promoting this within the private sector, and then continue to invest in infrastructure to make sure that we are reaching the unreached and leaving no one behind, and also leveraging emerging technologies to close the different gaps. Thank you. I hope I used my 10 minutes well, or if I've gone over, I apologize.
So first of all, Alice, it was exactly 10 minutes. Thank you so much for your very, very valuable contribution. Not only was it on the dot timing-wise, but also you covered everything from 2001, early 2000s, liberalization of the telecommunications sector in Rwanda, all the way to 2025, implementing AI legislation. My mind is blown when I hear that 80% of the blood used in Rwandan hospitals is transported by drones already. This shows that many of the solutions that we've talked about for years can be used today. It's just a matter of implementing the correct regulatory framework, offering the right support as government, and then magic things like that will happen. Thank you so much, Alice. I really look forward to meeting you in person in October when we will bring hopefully our trade mission to Kigali. Thank you again for taking the time to join us today. We'll get back to you later if we receive any questions from the audience. Thank you so much, Alice.
Thanks, Andreas. Cheers.
Cheers. Next, the stage and the limelight belongs to Godwin Akankunda. He's Senior Manager, International Development Advisory Services for KPMG East Africa. And I look forward to hearing from Godwin an update from the innovation perspective. What has happened in Kigali, what is happening, and how is it perceived by KPMG? Godwin, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. The stage is yours, and you should be able to control the presentation. There we go. Now we can see it. Yes.
Yeah. That's why I was saying it's almost the government side, and I want to emphasize most of the things that Alice alluded to, because the government, as I said, is highly synchronized with the private sector, and that's something good, because the government tries to see the needs of the private sector, and then they feed into that so that they can create an enabling environment so that the private sector can chip in, and mostly to do with the digital space. That's very important. And like Alice alluded, the process started long in 2001 with a strategic plan for what they call the NICI plans. The NICI plans, the National Information Communication Infrastructure. So it started in 2001, we are in 2025. So all those stages have been, have gone through, and then now there is the what called the ground is set, and it's now to make sure that investors can come in and reap from the technology that was set. And doing that, the government where it's helping the private sector is by creating this innovation city. And this innovation city and innovation hub is what is so exciting, because within this innovation city, investors can come and will get enough young people who are on the ground from so many countries. They test their innovations, and then you can spread it to the rest of Africa and the rest of the world. And this is something exciting. Much as we say that Rwanda is a small country, but the opportunities are enormous in terms of expansion from the center of Africa to the rest of the world, both East and West, because Rwanda being both French and English speaking, it gives us an advantage for any investor who wants to spread to the West Francophone and the English East Africa. So it's very exciting that on this digital space, if any innovation that you have as an investor, you start it in Rwanda, and then your target will be Africa, and it will be easy. Alice took us through some of these few innovations that have taken place, and the talent pool that we pull from, mostly from that innovation city, and the talent and the universities around the innovation city, the ALU, the Carnegie Mellon, the AIMS for maths and sciences. All these feed into what we would call the human resource part, or the young talent that you can tap into, so that when you invest or when you come into the country, you are sure that you'll get enough people. And the good thing is that it's not only Rwandese, it's Africa. So I would say the policies around innovation and the Rwandan the Rwanda tech environment is looking at the whole of Africa. So when you come here, it's not that you're investing and looking for your investments to sit in Rwanda, but to the rest of Africa. And that's, of course, it's within the vision, as Alice has given us the exact vision that the country has. And of course, as we said, the pool of trainees or the pool of students within the continent from almost 40 countries, and that's from all the rest of Africa, that any investor will be interested to start any innovation or any hub within Rwanda that they can expand. And these are some of the innovations that have started. Alice also alluded to this, and the successful ones are the zipline, as you said. Volkswagen is producing massively now. The electric cars and bikes charging stations, that's another innovation. And I think Rwanda is one of the few countries where the motorbikes are electric. We use a lot of motorbikes for transport around the country, and most of them are electric. The electric vehicles have, the electric buses is on and running, the cashless environment, and that means any investor with ideas, mostly new ideas, startups, this is the best place to be. And from the consultancy space, we've seen a lot of companies coming in to make sure that, coming in with a lot of investment and innovations, and we support from the side of the consulting side, we support and guide wherever we need, mostly in taxation and investment climate within the country. Yeah, so I would say from the consulting side that this is the place to be. Anyone who wants to expand to Africa, to expand throughout Africa on the digital side, this is the place to start. I hope I've used my time easily. Thank you. I'm in for questions.
Excellent.
Back to you, Pfeiffer.
Thank you so much, Godwin. Thank you for your remarks. The place to be, that's what the consultant tells us. It's not the first time we've heard it. It's also part of the reason why we're hosting this webinar and again our trade mission in October, because we also truly believe it is the place to be. So we've jumped one slide ahead. Let me go one slide back. So now we've heard about the ones providing the policy framework and the additional information and support for anyone who wants to undertake business, innovative business in Kigali. And now we'll hear from a young lady who's actually done it. Peace Ndoli is a true Rwandan success story. She's the co-founder and CEO of Lifespan Health. And I invite you now, Peace, to please take over control of the presentation. I think if you click on the top left on take over, you can just click next slides on my presentation, or you can present your own. And then we really look forward to hearing about your perspective about what Lifespan Health is and how your story of growth and success in Kigali has taken shape. Thank you so much, Peace. The stage is yours.
So thank you, everyone. Excited to be here. I'll be presenting about Lifespan. As I mentioned, my name is Peace, and I'm a co-founder of Lifespan Health. And Lifespan is a health tech company that's working in the area of non-communicable diseases like diabetes, hypertension, and the likes. So we started in 2022. And the problem we're solving is that with the rise in modern lifestyle, there is also an increase with health burdens. And we've seen this more in developed countries where there is a very high rise of lifestyle diseases. And unfortunately, in developing countries like Rwanda, now we're struggling with the double burden of disease, where we're still struggling with communicable diseases, and now we have non-communicable diseases as a result of development and modern lifestyle. So in Rwanda, there have been an increased rates of lifestyle diseases. Currently, 6 out of 10 mortalities are being caused by hypertension and diabetes. And you also have healthcare diagnostics with NCDs contributing 5%. So that's why me and my co-founder, we came together to design a solution that's tailored to individual needs, since what we currently have is in a way not personalized, and it's not tailored to specific needs. So the solution Lifespan Health has designed, it has 4 key areas. First, we have personalized incentive-based programs that people can engage in, and we have AI-based health screening, community health initiatives, and corporate wellness dashboards. So all this comes together to solve the problems I've just mentioned on the previous slide. And this is a small image of what the solution looks like. And on the following slide, I can show you a patient's journey and how they integrate or how they engage with our platform. So first, after signing up, step 1, so you put in your information, your age, health goals, current data, etc. And based on that, we're able to curate a plan based on your needs, depending on your age. Are you already living with an uncommunicable disease? Are you physically active? Do you have any other type of support? So you get a plan that works for you instead of having a generalized information that probably will not be relevant to everyone. So number 3, there is the tracking and engagement. So we have 3 key areas that we focus on, which are the main pillars when it comes to non-communicable diseases. We have nutrition, physical and mental health, and we design small challenges under each. So our users get to engage with these challenges, and every challenge is allocated points. So over time, if you've been working out, tracking your schedule, following a particular meal plan, then you're collecting points over time. And we've partnered with health and wellness service providers in Rwanda who offer rewards, free passes or discounts to their services if you've accumulated a certain number of points. So we also have community involvement, which is really, really important when it comes to living healthy and lifestyle changes. So you have an option to create or join an existing community where you can invite your friends. Currently, I'm part of a 5,000 steps a day community, and it comes with a leaderboard, as you can see on one of the screens. So you're able to see how you're performing in relation to the global leaderboard, but also your specific community. So if it's a family of 5, we can see the best performer today, and you're able to challenge each other and make this fun instead of a very lonely and hard journey. We've recently, number 5, also integrated AI health screening. We have an automatic facial scan that allows you to screen your face for 30 seconds and gives you your blood pressure, heart rate, facial age, stress levels, among others. And this comes with the BMI, blood sugar tracking, blood pressure tracking, and mental health standardized test. So it's more like an all-in-one platform that doesn't require someone to go to different facilities for different points of care. So you can find it in one place. So we have a very simple business model. It's subscription-based. So first we have B2C, personal plans, where someone can pay to have individualized information and plans. But we also have B2B2C, workplace plans. So here, corporates or companies pay for the employees to have access to our health and wellness packages. And it's integrated. You don't just have to focus on physical health or nutrition or mental health. It's all integrated, and we've designed these packages so that it's on a rotation basis, and every employee is able to go through all these. And it also comes with regular health fairs where we bring in experts to teach, give ideas, and also make people understand the burden of NCDs, but also the small steps you can take in your everyday lifestyle so that it doesn't become as a burden, or how to manage the cases you already have individually or your close community. So we, as I mentioned, we started in 2022. That's when we launched our first MVP. We used it to collect data. And in 2023, we got the approval to be, we're the first fully approved AI health tech company in Rwanda. At this point, we have more, obviously. And then we're through a B2G project that was funded by the Novartis Foundation. We're able to reach close to 1.6 million people in terms of awareness, community awareness and screening for blood pressure and blood sugar. Last year, that's when we hit our 10,000 user milestone. We've been part of multiple accelerators, including Google and NVIDIA. And this year, we're looking to sign our first 10 B2B clients and also open in Nairobi. So if you're looking for a workplace wellness program or in the space of health and wellness with a focus on NCDs, Life10 is your people. And so in short, what we're doing is to change mindsets from imagining you're healthy to knowing for sure through tracking and regular screening that you're sure that you're actually healthy. And feel free to download our application. It's available both on App Play Store and Apple Store, and feel free to try it and give us feedback if you can.
Thank you again, Peace, for your very valuable contribution. And now we move on to Wolfgang Maas and Anja Schlösser, who will tell us about their path to success in Rwanda. I think it was a few months ago, Wolfgang Maas gave me a call and said, we've just acquired a subsidiary in Kigali. I'd like to tell you about it. We had a very interesting conversation, and I look forward to all the future success and growth that Wolfgang and Anja will achieve with their teams in Kigali and in Austria. And I invite you now to take over the stage and share your experience with us.
Thank you very much. So, can you hear me? Yeah?
Yes, we can see you, we can hear you, and you're controlling the presentation. Okay. Everything's going smoothly. Thank you.
So thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity to share our experience here. On the first slide, I want a short way to introduce DCCS and our challenge we had to, and then we share our experience. DCCS is a IT software solution provider. So we are producing custom-made special software for our customers in Austria and Germany. We are serving big enterprises and public organizations. We have more than 300 mostly software engineers in 8 locations, and one of these locations is now in Kigali. So what was our challenge 2-3 years ago? Our initial situation were that, everybody knows this in Austria and Germany or Europe, we have a shortage of skilled workers, and we had the need for more affordable resources because competition, especially in German automotive industry, is very, very high. And we had one location in Bosnia already, but for risk sharing, we wanted to go for another shoring location. How we did it? First we started with analysis, more or less Google analysis. On the first side, we thought about Asia, as many people, but then very quickly we came to Africa. We realized that Africa is very attractive, and we did a short list of different countries where we want to go, where we want to build up our new resources, and on the top of the short list was Rwanda. We decided to, on the first hand, to search for a partner, not to start with our own subsidiary. And last year, then we did the on-site visit in Kigali in Rwanda and had talks with several partners. On this journey, we met also Code of Africa. We decided to go with Code for Africa to let them build us resources up for us. And as we started to collaborate together with this company, Code of Africa, we realized that we are fitting very good together, and we decided to merge our companies, and now Code of Africa is 100% part of DCCS Group. And within the last 8 months, we built up our resources from about 10. So in October last year, Code of Africa had 10 employees. And in June, the last time I was there in Kigali, we had 30 employees, mostly software engineers. What are our experience? One of the first, most important thing of what I realized is that you have to rethink your picture of Africa. Africa has often a very negative picture because it's often in Europe, as I'm realizing it, because many medias, we always reading about the negative things, about drafts and poverty and wars and things like that. In the best case, that you can have good safaris, but if you're going down to Africa, then in the last centuries, it developed in a very good way. You have vibrant cities, booming economies, you have a good infrastructure, and super important for us especially, you have lots young, well-educated and eager talents. This was the most important point for us. Then you have the big advantage that most of the African countries are in the same time zone like Europe, so it's very easy to work together via the internet. When I talk with friends and business partners, I'm still realizing that they have a very negative picture of Africa. But now, since 2 years, I was often there. My picture changed dramatically. But for sure, you have to be aware that there are some differences. For sure, there are some differences within African countries. Rwanda is on the very top, but in my view, you have big differences between cities and rural areas, and for sure you have differences, still big differences to Europe. And I want to hand over now to Anna to give you some more experiences and insights, because Anya is since 2019 in Kigali, and she built up Code of Africa, more or less. Anya, please.
Thank you, Wolfgang, and good morning, everyone. Murakoze Chani, you say thank you in Kinyarwanda, or Mwamutse, which means good morning. So yeah, as Wolfgang mentioned, and this is the very first point here also on the slide. So for me, the most important success factor is get your own impression on site. It's important that you go to Kigali and really kind of like trying to understand how things are working. So that is the reason why I moved to Kigali permanently for the first 4 years after I have founded Code of Africa in Kigali back in 2019. It has been kind of like a very, very, very educative journey so far. So I met a lot of interesting people. So it is definitely super easy to get in touch with partners. So we heard from Alice already. So there is a very strong ICT ministry. So then we do have Rwandan Development Board with its branch Global Business Services in Kigali on site. So networks you can collaborate with the moment you touch ground in Rwanda, in Kigali, so to say. Also a very important point, of course, and that's naturally, so meet everyone on eye level. Yeah, so it's super important. That's a mutual learning journey. Yeah, so when I moved there, so I learned a lot from the local environment. I learned a lot from the locals around myself, and yeah, it's a pleasure, and it's a horizon opener. Right? You widen your horizon each day. Yeah, be adaptive, of course. Look around, listen, observe. As mentioned already, look for those local partners on site. Collaborate with them. We do have also a very good European Business Chamber on site in Kigali since a couple of years. Where also Code of Africa is a member of. We have quite some business partners, aka competitors on site, right? So in the same field, so in the IT service field, provider field. So as Kigali is a relatively, let's say, not just easy to network, it's still relatively small. So you get in touch with, even with your competitors, very easily. And it's a friendly business environment, because we all learned along the way, so that it is not just about, or it is not about competing at all. It is kind of like, hey, let's tie the bonds, let's work together, let's learn together, and let's support each other, so that we really grow the market here together. That makes it also for me at least different to Europe and what I learned in Europe. So it's really an open business environment. Receive the information, sharing experiences. That is for me one of the key points. Yeah, so of the success. Then we heard also from Alice, there are a lot of good universities on site. Yeah, so we partnered also up with academia a couple of years back. So that we also now have like ALU and Carnegie Mellon graduates in our team of employees. We also learned quite early that it is super, let's say, beneficial to set up a training for local graduates, so that you train or upskill the local talent, which is there, thanks to the academia on site, that you upskill them further, tailored to your individual needs. national digital talent policy, we also learned from Alice, is helping in this regard also massively. Yeah, last not least, pursue a medium to long-term strategy. Yeah, be persistent and patient. Things are not happening overnight. So as mentioned, so we are on the ground since 2019 already. Yeah, and it paid out at the end. So now that we also tied bonds with DCCS. Yeah, so that is also something you need to know. So be kind of like persistent. Yeah, so I personally would love to see you all in Kigali in October, where we can then, of course, share more experience and information. If you cannot make it, so please feel free to reach out to us. We are more than happy to collaborate. Have a nice day, and thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you too, from us.
Dear Wolfgang, thank you so much. Thank you both for your contribution and for sharing so openly what you went through. It's interesting to me. I've been in this job now for 10 years. Whenever you talk to someone who's had success in Africa, you kind of tend to hear the same things coming from Europe anyways. First of all, get rid of the incorrect perception you have. What the Western media shows us is a very select and very filtered view of what is actually happening on this continent, number one. Number two, get here, which also solves number one, because once you're in the continent, once you're in these amazing countries, you understand way better. You have a lot more context, you have a lot more understanding, and you just suddenly see way more opportunities than you see challenges or hurdles that you've never seen anywhere before. So thank you for reiterating that, and I look forward to seeing you all in October. Before we head into October, let's head to the next slide, and that's a big thank you to all of our guest speakers. Without you, we wouldn't have expertise to share. Thank you, Alice, for sharing the government Ministry of ICT perspective, a very, very comprehensive overview. Godwin Akankunda, thank you so much for adding the consultant's perspective on it. Good to know that you are ready, good to know that you are perceiving many large multinationals coming in and investing. Please keep growing the success story. I can't wait to see the ads come up here in Nairobi for Lifespan, now also available in Kenya and Nairobi when you expand. Very excited for that. And finally, Anya and Wolfgang, again, thank you for sharing your personal experience. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the focus is on you, the audience. If you have any questions, this is your last chance to send them through in the chat window. Thank you, Ms. Exner-Wörer, for expressing your appreciation for the webinar. We appreciate it. And then we have also a gentleman reaching out about the specialization in green urban mobility solutions that his organization has and how he would be interested in receiving the latest version of the master plan of a future innovative smart city Kigali. We've had a little look at that, Tim and I. We found the version of the master plan. We'll confirm with Alice that we have the final version, and then we'll be sending that master plan to all of you in the audience, along with the recording for this webinar, as well as the presentation slides. Any questions, ladies and gentlemen? Last chance while you think and type. Let me draw your attention to the second last slide of our webinar, and these are all the details for the trade mission that I've mentioned before a little bit already. 13th of October to 18th of October, we will be taking a group of Austrian companies to Kigali to explore the tech hotspot that is Kigali. During this week that will be in Kigali, the Inspire Africa conference is taking place. We were actually approached by an Austrian entrepreneur who had taken part in the previous edition of this conference and was fascinated by how well everything worked and how valuable and strong the connections were that she was able to make there. So we're putting together a trade mission that includes participation in the Inspire Africa conference. It includes participation in the product masterclass offered by the Silicon Valley Product Group. There'll be plenty of networking opportunities. We'll be visiting at least 2, if not all 3 of the top incubators mentioned in today's webinar that are located in Kigali. We will help you organize individual B2B meetings before you ever travel to Kigali. You will be speaking to people in Kigali already. My team and I will be here to consult you, to have conversations with you. If you're interested in this trade mission, send us an email or sign up straight away. If you want to send us an email, we'll set up a call, we'll talk through the trade mission, evaluate the potential and fit for your organization, and then look forward to welcoming you in Kigali. Ladies and gentlemen, no more questions have come through so far. One more note from Alice, there will also be the Mobile World Congress, 21st to 23rd of October. Well, there you go. You can join our trade mission and then extend your stay for another few days, get a 2-for-1, and also attend the Mobile World Congress, which is, of course, a wonderful event in the world of mobile communications. Again, thank you to all of you guest speakers for contributing your expertise to our webinar. Thank you to the audience for taking the time to listen. Have a wonderful afternoon. Best regards from Nairobi to Kigali, to Austria, to wherever you may be. In the next few days, you'll receive from us an email with the recording as well as the PowerPoint slides of this webinar. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your participation, and see you at our next event.